Hi guys, welcome back. This is the summary of episode 4 of the ICT Mentorship 2022. Guys, please refer to ICT original content. I'm just a mirror for everything that he's doing, and I'm just trying to summarize step by step everything that he's teaching us. But these summaries are not enough for you to learn everything that ICT has to offer, and trust me, it's gonna be worth it. So in this episode, we are going to go through the example that ICT also gives in his video, and we are going to break down the process that he explains step by step. We're going to check that summary of that process, go through some homework, and talk about journaling. We're going to basically see the story of the price. So let's start. The step number 1 is to open your charts. I usually use TradingView. I know that also ICT does. If you don't know what is it yet, you can find a link in the description below. It's a free tool that will show you charts and price movement, and it has, everything that you may need there, and it's free. The basic version is free, so it's also super cool. Okay, open your charts and search for the E-mini S&P 500 futures and go back and check it for the 27th of January, which, if I'm not wrong, it was a Wednesday. Open it up and set it at 2 minutes. It's very important that you see the whole day in your chart as we are showing here. So in the lower left corner, you should have the minimum of the day, and on the top corner, you should have the height of that specific day. That is also our range from low to high. Now, step 2 is to find the equilibrium. The equilibrium is simply the midpoint range of that day, and we can find it. Also, ICT uses is just to use the Fibonacci retracement tool, and in the PDF you are going to have a screenshot of where to find it on TradingView if you already don't know. It simply means from the lowest point in price to the highest point in price, what is the mid-range. That is our equilibrium. Guys, it is very important that we look at the story of the price. ICT tells that several times. It's not just the price movement, but also the time, which means that it's important what happens first and what happens after. So we really need to take a step back, not rush it, and look at the chronological development of the price. What has happened first? What has happened after? In this case here, we can see that the price from the early morning started rising up, and it formed some highs. These highs are signed in the picture here as point A. When the price reaches point B, it's already high, it's in the premium, and it's getting really expensive. Something also interesting about point B is that it happens actually in a time frame that starts to get interesting for us, and so we pay even more attention. When the price gets to point C, we really want to stop a second and observe in more detail what's going on. Here we want to ask 2 questions. Question number 1, is the price breaking down below old high levels? And yes, it is. Second question, in this break, is the price actually forming a fair value gap? And no, in this case, we really do not see any fair value gap being formed. So we let it go. We do not trade, we do not get more interested, we just wait for the price to do his thing and we observe. And then, right after, point D happens. In point D, the price has risen higher and it has formed a new high. And so as the price goes down from this high, we want to ask again 2 questions. The first one, is it trailing under the previous high? And yes, it is. And the second question, is it forming a fair value gap as it goes down? And yes, it does. Okay, so at this time, the price has all of our attention, we're really glued to it, and we want to see what's going to happen next. After forming the fair value gap, the price goes still a little bit below it, but then it comes back and taps into the fair value gap and only at that point it actually starts really rallying down big time. It arrives under the equilibrium point and it touches an old low, which on the graph you can see with the letter E. Guys, these are my own markups. I also wanted to show you a screenshot of ICT's markups and what he has put on his graph. Check that he also has the buy side liquidity there, so that's also going to be important in future episodes. For the moment, let's focus on the blue area that he has highlighted here. Okay, let's zoom in. Here we can see that at 8:30 in the morning, the price started forming a very interesting high. And also the time frame is important for us because we have our own rules that we are following. And yes, we start to pay more attention. This is the moment when the hunt actually starts. The candle where you see the light bulb is actually very important. There we see the fair value gap forming, but we also see a shift in market structure. That market structure shift is important and it really shows us how the price is breaking down below a previous low. After that, the market trades a tiny bit lower, but then it comes back up to tap into the fair value gap. And only then it starts rallying down big time. The two main questions that we have at this point is where should we enter the trade? And where should our take profit be? So we should enter the trade, of course, shorting in this case, where the price taps back into the fair value gap. That's the best moment for us because in this moment exactly we are sure that 1, the price is going to keep going down, and 2, that we are actually entering the trade with a discount. Our take profit or our target profit can be determined in different ways. We can take a look to the equilibrium of that day, but we should also consider previous lows of the price. This is cool because with this example we see a very concrete way to use ICT strategies. It actually is not enough to have understood this example to be able then to go out and just trade. We need to review different trades, we need to review different days and really be able to spot ourselves all the things that ICT is trying to show us and trying to teach us. So I encourage all of us to go on TradingView or any other platform that you're using and really check and find another day that is bullish similarly to this one if there are possible trades, and to really follow step by step the process here outlined. So let me cite ICT and what he says in this episode. He says that if we want to become good deer hunters, we need to know how a deer looks like in its environment. Same thing with trading. If we want to become good traders, we need to really have a clear view of how a good profitable trade looks like in its own environment. And so he really encourages us to do the work, go find our own examples, and also to be journaling. He talks about 2 very important questions that should be added to our journals and to our notes when we do this type of review. So the first question is, how long did it take to the price to go from the shift in market structure to the fair value gap? And the second question is, how long did it take to the price to actually go from the entry where we wanted to enter the trade to our target? I really have found these 2 questions amazing and super insightful because if you have traded before, to actually go from theory to application is a completely different word. Many people say and sound very good when they explain you their strategy, but then when you apply them, maybe it doesn't work for you personally. And so if before trading you take a step back and really understand how long is it gonna take, how long am I gonna have to wait, what am I gonna be able to see, is the price gonna always be in my favor, how am I gonna feel, and so on and so forth, you're gonna be much better prepared to when you actually start trading and not just with a demo account. So I found it very useful. I wanted also to show you here a step-by-step of the process that ICT goes through in this example. so that we can replicate it on our own with our own journaling and our own style, which is in the link in the description below. As you guys know, in episode 4 of the ICT Mentorship, he also makes another example. He goes through it a little bit more quickly. So I'm gonna put here a slide that shows you the example that he's also showing, but without any markups. Take a moment, go through the process, do the work, try to see if you can see what ICT is also seeing and is trying to show us. Guys, that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, keep going, do not stop. This is the way.